Let's talk to Gary Mond, who is chairman of the National Jewish Assembly. Gary, I know you will be as appalled as I am at these outrageous scenes.
Yes, absolutely. But what matters most now, looking forward, is what is the Dutch government going to do about it? And the first thing that they need to do is to ensure that those who are convicted of offences in this attack get real jail sentences. I don't know whether the Netherlands has two-tier policing like we have in this country, or a two-tier legal system. I hope it doesn't, and I hope we see jail sentences. The second thing that ought to happen is the Palestinian flag ought to be banned. It should not be used at all in these situations, because it is a rallying point for terror. That is all it is. It's not the flag of a country, it's the flag for Jew hatred. And the third thing, as Geert Wilders, a senior Dutch politician, has said today, is that they should look carefully at considering denaturalisation and deporting any criminals who are actually immigrants to the Netherlands. So what I think is most important is what are they going to do about it? You know, it was only a question of who was first. Was it going to be Amsterdam, Brussels, Paris or London?
Yeah, or many other cities right across. I saw someone, actually, I think it was Lord Walney, was retweeting, John Woodcock, who's the government's advisor on political violence, was retweeted something to say it was horrible, to condemn it. Earlier from someone, it may well have been him, it may have been someone else, saying that there were people saying, why don't we get this team to play in Birmingham, then we can have a go at them. I mean, it is just absolutely horrendous. Dick Schoof, who is the Dutch Prime Minister, in fairness to him, he's come out, he has condemned it. There has been a big police presence. They've passed some emergency laws to make sure that people can't congregate, to make sure that this sort of thing can't happen for another night. That kind of reaction, Gary, to me, is exactly the kind of reaction we should be having here in the UK, when, thankfully not on this scale, but we know there are people with the same intent.
That is absolutely correct. One thought that occurred to me is, I don't know if you recall that just after the war began last October, there were similar attacks on Israelis who were disembarking from an aeroplane in Dagestan, which is part of Russia. And one thing that I noticed was that in the aftermath of that, there were no further attacks. We hadn't heard a peep more. Now, that's perhaps because Russia is not a democracy like Western democracies are, and they didn't have problems with marches, etc. And they actually clamped down on it hard. I'm not advocating authoritarian regimes, but I am saying, I couldn't help noticing that it seems that it is the Western capitals that suffer most from this.
Dorothy in East Kilbride says, good afternoon, Peter. I think the anti-Israel attack is only the beginning of what will be seen across the West. The UK government and police will only do something when we have had a major incident, says Dorothy from East Kilbride. I agree with Dorothy, and I agree that there is so much more, especially that the Metropolitan Police should be doing to deal with this here in our own country, dealing with, I mean, there are some arrests, but they're not nearly enough. There are clearly people who are glorifying terrorism, who straightforwardly are holding or are promoting Hamas, Hezbollah, who are comparing them, Israel, to Nazis. They've got, you know, we've seen people with swastikas on their shirt and so on. There's just so much more that the government in this country could do, and I worry, Gary, that what will happen is that there will be a mob here, a pro-Palestinian, anti-Semitic mob here, that will see what has happened in Amsterdam and draw inspiration from it.
I completely agree with you again. That is a real threat that we're having to face. And one thing that Dorothy said, which was that it will take a major attack for them to do anything about it. I'm scared that even if there is a major attack, they won't do anything about it. And as regards your earlier point about people loosely using the word Nazi, fascist, etc., well, we've just witnessed that in the American election with Kamala Harris and her supporters doing exactly the same. It was utterly appalling, and whatever one's views of politics there, I'm glad that that side of the equation was totally defeated on Tuesday night.
Gary, thank you. That's Gary Mond, who is chairman of the National Jewish Assembly.